guys noticed how old all the people on the top of the music charts are? If you go to the top Spotify monthly listeners chart and you start looking down, let's say that take the top 25 and you look at the ages of the people. If you start with Bruno Mars, who has 130 million monthly listeners, he's 39 years old. Let me go down the list.
What is going down, world? Welcome to the 40s. I go by the name Black Pegasus, and today I'm checking out Rick Beato. Is that how you say it? Man, I hope I got it right. I reacted to one of his videos and I said Rick Beato because that's what I thought. And I got roasted for a millennia in the comments, which tends to happen, man. These videos have a longer lifespan than you anticipate. So, like, for example, my reaction to A Country Boy Will Survive by Hank Williams Jr., I realized that, like, so this is when at the beginning of my journey of doing reactions, and I just went and looked when the song was uploaded. I was like, oh, it came out 12 years ago, and people were like, no, it came out in 19. And I'm like, bruh, okay, got it. So then the moment I figured out when it came out, this is also a learning curve. I've learned how to do my reactions, like I'll look up like, oh, when did this release? Anyways, it's just ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. But to this day, a reaction that's almost 2 years old, every day we'll get the comment, this didn't come out 12 years ago. This came out. And you're like, bruh, I know. So I get beaten over the head with a bat for a long time. Anyways, let me know if I said it right. Rick Beato. I hope so. Respect to Rick, man. His channel is awesome. I enjoy it. Today I wanted to check this out. This thumbnail had me drawn in. And it's the title of the video, It's Worse Than You Think, The Truth About Why New Artists Fail. And I love his work, man. He's very intelligent. He has a way bigger grasp on music, instrumentation, everything than myself. And I just want to give him his flowers and respect, and also listen to the OG, man. I'm the young buck just getting some game. I feel like, when I do videos like this, he's here with me just like, okay, let me explain this to you, Pegasus. So that's what's going on. Rick Beato. Hopefully I said that right. All respect to Rick. Anyways, if you guys ready to rock with your boy, like, share, comment, subscribe, and welcome back to the channel.
They tease him a lot, black peas on the spot. Welcome back, 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 welcome back. 40.
All right, the logo's down and the video is up. This might be on my other channel, Pegasus vs. the World, but a little edited, because this is a commentary piece, but I want to shout out that channel because I do different stuff over there, react to trending topics, stuff like that. On this channel, we do have a membership where you get access to reactions early and a huge catalog that's updated every day. So if you guys are interested in that, all that's in the description. But let's keep this thing moving. Please go to Rick Beato's channel and support what he does. He is totally awesome for the music movement in general, and just for me to grow. Him and the Professor of Rock are some of like my favorite channels to go to and learn stuff behind the scenes while I'm doing a lot of these classic rock and country reactions. Anyways, let's see what he's talking about here. Also, don't mind me if I do. We're going to slow it down, have a little breakfast. Anyways, without further ado, you guys, we're rocking with Rick Beato. I hope I'm saying that right. First time reaction to him, I said Rick Beato, and I apologize. I believe it's Beato now. I learned. Anyways, Rick Beato, and the title of this video is It's Worse Than You Think, The Truth About Why New Artists Fail. Here we go.
Have you guys noticed how old all the people on the top of the music charts are? If you go to the top Spotify monthly listeners chart and you start looking down, let's say that take the top 25 and you look at the ages of the people. If you start with Bruno Mars, who has 130 million monthly listeners, he's 39 years old. Let me go down the list. The Weeknd, 35 years old. Billie Eilish, 23. She's young. Kendrick Lamar, 37. Coldplay, Chris Martin at least, is 48. Rihanna is 37. Ed Sheeran's 34. Ariana Grande is 31. Taylor Swift, 35. SZA, 35. Bad Bunny, 31. Drake, 38. Justin Bieber, 31. Dua Lipa, 29. Eminem, 52. Post Malone, 29. Sabrina Carpenter, 25. Travis Scott, 33. Maroon 5's Adam Levine is 46. Shakira is 48. J Balvin is 39. Katy Perry is 40. Lana Del Rey is 39. Adele's
The one pattern I'm starting to see with what he's saying, and I don't know what it alludes up to yet, but the mid 30s seems like this range where people are like standing strong just on average, because you'll have these numbers like 52 for Eminem, right? But then it just goes back into this margin where I'm seeing like a lot of 30, 31, 32, 35, 29, like it's in this 30-ish area. So that's interesting. I wonder what he's alluding to with this.
36, and rounding out the list at number 25 is Beyonce, who's 43 years old. Okay. Now, if you average all those together, it comes out to be 36 and a half years old. That's the average age of the people in the top 25 on Spotify's monthly listener chart. That's really old. So out of that list, there are only 4 people that are in their 20s. Billie Eilish, who's 23, Sabrina Carpenter, who's 25, but Post Malone and Dua Lipa are 29 and almost 30. They're both going to be 30 this year. As a point of comparison, in 1965, the Beatles released their 6th record, Rubber Soul. On that record, John Lennon was 25 and so was Ringo. McCartney was only 23 and George Harrison was an astounding 22 years old. 6 records into their career. And if you think I'm just cherry picking this, there's tons of examples of this. When the Rolling Stones released Exile on Main Street in 1972, that was their 10th album, and Mick and Keith were both 29. Another great example is Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder was 26 when he released his 8th studio record, Songs in the Key of Life, in 1976. Or if you go to the 80s, U2 released their 5th studio record in 1987, The Joshua Tree. And on that record, Bono and Adam Clayton were 27, and Edge and Larry Mullen Jr. were 26.
Yo, he's actually making an interesting point here. And I don't know what this means or what this is alluding to. You know, the potential of being able to utilize name brand success or maybe monetary wealth to solidify your popularity through the avenues of streaming and radio currently. I don't know, but what he's saying, like I do remember artists, even in the rap, hip hop, R&B world, like there was this era where there's like a lot younger. They were bigger at a younger age. And even myself, I started rapping. I recorded my first record or album when I was 18 years old. So that was 98. So we put out Fusion of Syllables. Then we put out Focus on Skills. Then we put out Hunted Percent. Then I had to go solo. And I did a solo EP. And then I did my first solo album. So I was like 5 projects deep and I was 23 years old. And by the time, so that was, yeah. Anyways, I'm getting lost in the sauce a little bit. But this is interesting what he's saying. I wonder where this is going to go, because what's fantastic about Rick Beato too is like I'm being exposed on my channel to a lot of these artists, in the sense like I've heard of U2 and you hear, you know, things, but I never paid attention to the music. So when I'm doing some of these first time reactions to, let's say, like Bloody Sunday or whatever, you know, I'm like, yo, this is crazy that I've never heard this. And I'm going through a lot of the Beatles catalog, Rolling Stones, Queen, dude. So this is very interesting. I wonder what his take is, but I love how he just dissects and disseminates all this info, and he's like sees these things that I don't even think a lot of people are talking about.
They're far into their careers, and there's many more examples of this. If you look at today's charts, you're going to notice something very different. Bruno Mars is 39, but only released 3 albums. The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar are 35 and 37, and they've each only released 6 albums.
That's crazy. I'm 45, and I've released like 15 or 16 albums. I don't even know, because like I had a solo career. I've done some group projects. I started out rapping in a group called Fusion of Syllables. And this is kind of freaking me out. That's wild. It's a new era though, too. Like it's a singles driven market where people don't necessarily even put out albums after singles. Some people will blow up with like 3 singles and tour off it's crazy. I don't know. Let's see what he's talking about. And I speak from more because I do have a pretty solid grasp of the hip hop rap world. Now, do I pay attention to the music anymore? No. Like there was like a handful of pop artists he mentioned I've never even heard of, like DeLupa or whatever the hell whatever that is. I have no clue who that is. So there's a lot because I listen to more information than I do music these days because of the age of information, podcasting, etc. But that's just me.
And Ed Sheeran, who's 34, has released 7. So far fewer records and are much older. So why is this? So I came across this thing called the Matthew Principle or Matthew Effect, which refers to the concept of cumulative advantage, where those who already possess an advantage like wealth, status, or in this case, Spotify listeners, tend to accumulate more, while those who start with less tend to lose what they have. In economics, individuals with more wealth have more opportunities to invest in things and generate even more wealth. I think the way that it relates to this list is that people that were already famous in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s, like Taylor Swift, like Coldplay, like Maroon 5, they had a distinct advantage on this list because they were famous when streaming really blew up, which made it easier for them to be higher on the list. They had more songs to pick from. People were going back and listening to their catalog songs and their new songs that they're releasing. And that's one of the reasons that they're so big on this list. Bruno Mars may only have 3 records out, but he's been on so many people's songs. He's all over the place. The same thing goes on social media. Let's say YouTube. I have almost 5 million subscribers, and I will get there if you hit subscribe right now. Quick plug.
Hey, hold on. Let me see if I'm subscribed to him because I might have just liked his videos and been. Am I subscribed? Nope. We subscribing. Yo, he hit 5 million. Just kidding. He's still a little bit shy, but just know that I'm a part of the movement, Rick Beato. Even though I hope I'm saying your name right, bro, because I get things. I mean, that's kind of my whole channel's allure, I guess, because I really don't. Anyways. We're subscribed officially, man. He's the GOAT. Let's go, OG. Put me on game, OG. Let me hear.
It's far easier for me to get subscribers because I have all this social proof. People look at my channel and they see, oh, this video has got 1 million, this video has 5 million, this video has 20 million. And so you tend to click on those videos and subscribe to those channels that have a ton of social proof than you will if you come across a channel that only has 20 followers. Think about your own viewing habits. If you're going to try to fix your hot water heater, are you going to look at a video of someone that's got 5,000 views or 5 million views? You're going to go with the one that has the social proof on it, especially with something like that. That pretty much goes for anything. If you're trying to learn anything, YouTube will typically serve up the videos that have the most views or that have the most views and the highest rating. And this,
before he gets into this, is key. For anyone who's, looking to work in like the marketing sphere, this is like the basic premise of marketing, building these brands and getting the momentum so it just kind of rolls on its own. He's absolutely correct here because when I started my YouTube channel, I was just a rapper putting out my music and it was hard to grow it. I would tour. And so some of them just, you'd get some growth, but I haven't had the social proof I have now. The fact that I'm knocking at the door of 500 or 500,000 subscribers on my music reaction channel, people just look at me different immediately. They'd be like, oh, like they're like, if they go check out the channel, they like, for example, I was at Wells Fargo talking to a banker working on a transfer for an event we're doing. And he was just like, oh, cool. They're a younger guy. And he's like, what do you do, man? Things seem to be moving for you. I was like, well, I throw concerts, but I do YouTube. YouTube's starting to pop off for me. And he was just kind of like, oh, whatever. Then he's like, well, what's your YouTube? He looked at it and he's like, oh, yo, bro, I got a mixtape and my homie raps. And like the moment he saw that I have almost 500,000 subs, the conversation changed. This social proof concept he's talking about is very real. It works amazing in the marketing sphere to grow brands, etc. So yes, just wanted to highlight that.
Matthew Principle goes for things like social media platforms. Like, why did Facebook outlast things like MySpace or any of its other competitors? Well, because people would spend X amount of time posting things on there. And then once you have all this history, people don't want to start from scratch. It's hard. People are like, Rick, why don't you move to this platform, move to that platform? Maybe because I have 2,000 videos on YouTube and I don't want to start from scratch. And because YouTube is the best platform to be on, because it's got the best search engine. People, when they're searching things, they go to YouTube. They don't go to other places. And when you look on Google, it brings up YouTube videos. It doesn't bring up Facebook videos. So if you want to learn to do something, you search it on Google and you find the top YouTube videos to learn how to do anything. And those are the ones that you go with. That's your competitive advantage over other things, which is why these people on Spotify keep getting bigger and why they're older. It's this exact same thing. They have this competitive advantage by being around longer. So I'm not going to tell you that it's impossible to be successful on this platform, even if you start from scratch today, because it's not. You can start from scratch and grow a huge channel right now. I have friends that have done it in the past few years.
He's absolutely right. I want to tag into that because first and foremost, and I'm going to be super transparent with you guys, I think I started my channel in 2006. Just look it up. If you're on my channel, you can look it up. It says when I started. It's like 2006. I'm pretty sure it's 06. And I started releasing music videos. And then later on the line, because creating a song and then a music video is very expensive in the rap space at the time I was doing it, because technology there was no cell phones, iPhone, do your video, that didn't exist. So essentially I started like trying to do vlogging and do a bunch of different things. And I remember I had about 8,000 subscribers. And this was in the span of years. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think 10 years. So there had been a moment where I started doing features with big artists, uploading those videos, trying to get traction. But I remember using Google Ads, which was not worth it at that time because I didn't understand how that worked. And if you get I forget the word, but it's like a low ad when you're trying to be cheap, basically, and the AdSense is low, then you just don't get a quality customer type of concept. So you're just getting people clicking through like these ads, but they're not really checking out your content for you. So long story short, I did that. Then there's times I even bought fake views or fake subscriptions or whatever. And I would not recommend that. This was early in the game, just trying to bubble, because this social proof thing he was talking about is actually very real. Essentially, I stopped all that. I figured out a niche, which was music reactions. I leaned into it. That's when I had my exponential growth. Literally from 2006 to I think, 2015, I had like 8,000 subscribers. And in 2020, I remember having about 14,000 subscribers, give or take. And in 2020, I started doing reaction videos, showing up consistently on YouTube, and we built that to. I remember it jumped to 25,000 subscribers, and then when I just got in the seat and started driving, I remember my first 60,000. After 60,000, it just went to 100,000, and now here I am, almost at 500,000. And then I have another channel that I got it to almost 50,000 subscribers, Pegasus versus the World, like in no time, because I had social proof on my main channel. So there's a lot there that he's talking about with this specifically. Oh man, I got off track talking about the journey, because I was going to lead into something else that refers to hip hop that I've seen in real time with what he's talking about. Let me just listen again. My bad. Damn.
Start from scratch today, because it's not. You can start from scratch and grow a huge channel right now. I have friends that have done it in the past, and those are the ones that you go with. That's your competitive advantage over other things, which is why these people on Spotify keep getting bigger and why they're older. It's this exact same thing. They have this competitive.
Just remembered. So the association here with this concept that changed in hip hop. I'm not talking about rock. I'm not talking about country. You guys please tap in if you know more about that. And maybe he'll touch on it at the end of this video. But one of the keys that I wanted to tap into was hip hop changed when the hip hop DJ stopped breaking records because they liked the record. Let me say it again for the people in the back. Hip hop, rap music changed the moment DJs stopped breaking records, meaning introducing new records like Wu-Tang to the masses through radio because they liked it. They started breaking records because of incentivization, right? Relationships with labels, people paying money, people giving presents, not payola, but, some like there's a dynamic. So there's a moment in hip hop where mixtapes on cassette, you know, Tony Touch, Kid Capri, they were playing these new records and getting them out. And you're like, what is this? They were playing records on college radio, the Beato show. These people were breaking records for the first time out of just sincere, like, this is a dope record. Not, hey, I got a little bit of extra bread. And actually, this is a tight record, so I'm just going to play it. So that also changed the landscape for hip hop. Now, everything he is saying parallels and goes with hip hop, R&B, rap, as well as all the pop artists, the rock artists as well. So what he's saying is absolutely true. I'm just coming from the hip hop space, seeing the incentivization from corporations kind of manipulating the market on what works, especially in the rap space. Because I tried to break records on major radio, college radio. You know, I paid independent promoter. Bro, I lost a lot of money trying to make it in rap. I lost a lot of money. I put everything out there. I put my whole heart out there. I don't, you know, I listen back to the music. There are some of my jams that I do think stand the test of time, but just didn't get platformed, you know, because it's timing. There's a lot of things. But he's making a lot of sense here.
Cult. And when you're competing against people, let's say somebody like me that's 63 years old, and you're 30 years old, not only is my competitive advantage the length of time I've been on YouTube, but it's also my age. Being 63 does give me a competitive advantage. Why is that? When I'm talking about music from the 60s, I was alive in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. So I was able to live and hear the Beatles when they were on the radio in the 60s, and Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath. I was able to hear all those artists, that Led Zeppelin, all these artists that were big in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. I lived through the grunge era. I learned about jazz music when I was in college in the 1980s, and I taught jazz studies. I taught jazz history. I played classical music in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. I studied it. And I have this incredible lived experience of playing all these different genres of music, not only on one instrument, but on multiple instruments. So it's far easier for me to talk about Jimi Hendrix because I remember when Jimi Hendrix was putting out records, and I remember when the Stones were putting out records, and the Beatles, well, the Stones are still putting out records, and all these artists that are not even with us anymore. So it's very difficult for a young person to come in and start a channel and compete with someone that's old like me that has all this experience. But it's not impossible. You can have a successful channel. But the things you need to do are actually the things that I did. You need to outwork other people. You really need to just dedicate yourself to this and put in the work that it takes. And it takes a lot of work to be successful at anything. The next thing is that you have to keep learning. If I didn't keep learning throughout my channel, I would not be able to be doing this 9 years into it. I didn't know I was going to be making videos on AI. I didn't know I was going to be making videos on a lot of the topics that I talk about now because they didn't exist before. And the last thing is, somebody's got to be successful. So why can't it be you? That's the thing that I always thought when I started my
channel. Hold on, man. Let me give it to him.
Hold up.
For my, he's spitting.
Channel's like, hey, somebody's got to be successful. Why can't it be me? Love to know your thoughts. Hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.
Hey, man, support his channel. Oh, man, I got butterflies a little bit, a little goosebumps at the end. What do they call that? Chicken skin. He said some real stuff. I want to highlight the word, the stuff that popped up on the screen. Let's see if keep learning. It's very key. Keep learning. Absolutely. But there was another one. Why he said, why can't it be you? Hold on. See, before that, I just got to do a slow down. Where is it? Oh, man. Sometimes it doesn't pick up here. Anyways, he said a bunch of stuff at the end that really appealed to me in the sense of it was like even what I was talking about literally just now.
Radio in the 60s and Jimi Hendrix and Black Sabbath. I was able to hear all those artists that Led Zeppelin. I learned in the 60s and the 70s. All these different on easier for me out records. Beatles. These artists that call for a young person and compete experience. You need to do is dedicate yourself to this and put in the work that it takes. And it takes a lot of work to be successful at
outwork,
any.
Learn. So first thing he said was outwork. And this is true. I'm literally eating during this reaction. That was the one I wanted to find, but for some reason it was popping up on the screen. But regardless, it don't matter. Outworking. So I'm even eating here because I spend a lot of time in front of this camera recording, and I'm learning and getting exposed to music in real time. But behind the scenes, I will watch a video from him or the Professor of Rock. After I react to something, I'll read your guys' comments, and then I'll show back up for the next reaction with a little more knowledge. But the one thing when he says outwork, I record a lot, you guys. And I'm not even saying this to toot my horn. This is just for anyone who's like, yo, I want to do YouTube. Like, I don't play around. And the moment I took it very seriously, even when I wasn't making money, I just took it serious and was obsessed and recorded it like so many reaction videos because I truly enjoyed it, but also because I was like, oh, we're going to do this. That's what it really took for me to have my breakthrough moments. And I still record like that to this day. Not as excessive, but I have a schedule. Like every day, I pretty much start recording at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I typically finish around 12 p.m. every single day, Monday through Sunday. On Sundays, I try to get finished at 10:30 or 11 a.m., so I just have that little extra time with the family, but every single day I record. He's not wrong about just outworking and just not playing around. Learning. I'm literally learning from this video. Every video I react to, I learn a little something in the comments, whether I look it up, etc. And you're always going to learn new things. The moment you know it all, you know nothing. And other than that, he's spitting game. Shout out to the OG. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. I'm going to be celebrating when I see him hit 5 million subs. It'd be kind of cool if I hit 500,000 subs when he hits 5 million. That'd be awesome. But anyways, slow motion is better than no motion. Keep moving, keep going, and you can do it. It seems like a mountain at first, but bro, you got to remember, I've been rapping since for real, since like 1997. I started recording in 98. So, obvious he's OG status, but this is just for people who just think it's impossible. I haven't made it to where I want with my rap career necessarily, but I've still been successful in other avenues, and things open up, things change. So be welcoming and opening to those changes. And, it's just something you got to figure out for yourself. But without further ado, you guys, thank you for tapping in. I appreciate it. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Make sure you support Rick Beato's channel. I hope I said that correct. If I didn't, please scold me in the comments like you always do. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for being some man. 40 years down the road, back again. FUQ, boy.